since we are done with the first lesson under the second module, now we are going to tackle lesson 2 entitled The Self in Different Psychological Perspectives. So last lesson natakal natin ang self from various philosophical perspectives, and ngayon naman is all about psychology. Psychology has various ways of understanding a person, and the therapist's way of helping people understand themselves. Self, by definition, is a reference by an individual to the same individual person, having its own or single character as a person, referring to the person as same individual. Okay, when we say self, ito yung kung paano natin nadi-differentiate yung sarili natin sa ibang tao. Okay, kung paano tayo naging unique individual sa ibang tao. And when it comes to psychology, it is actually the study of human behavior. Kaya connected si psychology sa pag-aaral ng ating mga sarili. There are different ways that psychology looks at it in explaining the behavior of a person. Before we proceed with the different psychological perspectives, let us first understand what a behavior is. What is behavior? When we talk of behavior, ang naiisip agad natin kung ano yung ugali natin, kung ano yung characteristics and attitude na meron tayo. Now, behavior is an individual's reaction to certain situations. It is basically how we behave. Kaya nga siya behavior. Okay? So, it's actually depending on the situations we are in. Behavior can be overt and covert. Okay? Meron tayong mga iba't ibang types ng behavior depending on the situations. The first two are overt and covert. When we say overt behavior, it is an outward behavior. These are the behaviors that are observable by others and can be seen readily. Okay, ito yung mga behavior natin, mga ginagawa natin na nakikita and could be seen by the eyes of other people. Kagaya ng laughing, shouting, talking, walking, ayan, yung mga actions natin na nakikita ng ibang tao. Pag sinabi naman natin covert, these are the hidden and not visible to the naked eyes. Okay? Ito yung mga nasa loob natin na mga behavior. Behavior that is internal, therefore not observable and cannot be seen. This comes in the forms of feelings, thoughts, and motives. Para siyang mga emotional aspects natin, emotional behavior natin. Examples are happy, angry, imaginations, ayan. Kumbaga yung happiness natin, sadness natin, yung feelings and thoughts natin. Yan naman yung mga covert behavior. So, huwag tayong malito. Ang overt, visible, nakikita ng ibang tao, could be observed by other people, while covert, nasa loob natin yan. Emotions natin yan. Okay, let's proceed to the next one. Behavior can also be conscious and unconscious. Pag sinabi natin conscious, acts may be in the level of one's awareness and the behavior that the person is aware of. Ibig sabihin, consciously ginagawa mo tong behavior na to. Okay, alam mo na ginagawa mo tong behavior na to. Like walking, eating, aware ka. Okay? For example, reading a book. 'Di ba? Aware ka na nagbabasa ka. Alam mo na nagbabasa ka. So that's conscious behavior. How about unconscious? Syempre, the opposite. Acts deeply embedded in one's subconscious. It is any behavior that the person is not aware of. Hindi mo alam or hindi ka aware habang ginagawa mo to. Okay, like mannerisms, shaking of your legs while sitting, biting your fingers, ayan, usong-uso. And very common sa mga teenagers, yung pagbabite ng fingers, playing with your pen while listening to your teacher's discussion, baka ngayon merong nagawa niyan. Yan yung mga unconscious things and behavior na ginagawa natin. Okay? Unconsciously. 'Di ba? Parang biglaan mo na lang siyang ginawa. Unlike reading a book, alam mong gagawin mo siya. Okay, magbabasa ako, kaya ginawa ko to. Pero yung pagbabite ng fingers, biglaan mo lang yan napapasok sa bibig mo. At nangangat-ngat ka dyan ng kuko. Biglaan lang yon. Hindi mo naman pinlano, okay, mamaya 3 p.m. ha? Magngangat-ngat ako ng kuko ko. Hindi, 'di ba? Okay, so yun ang pagkakaiba ng conscious and unconscious. Now, let us proceed to the next one. We have simple and complex behavior. Kapag sinabi nating simple behavior, it is the one in which the response is the direct result of the cause, involves few neurons. For example, you are hurt and you scream. That's simple behavior. Kumbaga, very simple yung situation. Pag meron kang na-encounter na situation, magre-react ka doon sa situation na yun. And that's simple behavior. How about complex behavior? Of course, kabaliktaran po ni simple. It is the one in which there is much more responsible for your action, like mental conditions and etc. And, of course, more number of neurons. Example, to be attracted to someone is a complex behavior. There are a lot of things that drive this action. Unlike dun sa una nating example kay simple behavior, kapag nasaktan ka daw, sisigaw ka. Okay? Pero kagaya nitong sa complex behavior, pag na-in-love ka, hindi ka lang naman basta sisigaw. Iiyak ka, kung ano-ano mararamdaman mo. Because maraming factors yung involved in this situation. Okay? So, huwag tayong malito. Pag simple lang. Meron ka agad reaction doon sa situation na yon. Yung reaction na yon, yun yung behavior mo. Kapag complex naman, it's either hindi mo alam kung ano yung i-react mo agad or napakadami ng pwede mong i-react depending on that situation. Okay, next, we have rational and irrational behavior. Pag sinabi nating rational behavior, exercised with sanity or reason. May rason kung bakit mo ginawa yung behavior na yon. For example, a person is more likely to buy an item at a lower price than a high one or buy items on sale if they believe it is better value. Ibig sabihin dito, yung behavior na ginawa mo ay may reason. For example, kagaya niyan, sale ang binili mo. Anong reason? Naka-sale siya mas makakamura ako dito. So, ito yung gagawin ko. Okay, yung behavior na yun na pinakita mo ay rational because it has reasons for you why you did that thing. Okay? Next, we have irrational. Acts committed for no apparent reason or explanation. Ito naman yung parang basta na lang. Basta na lang nag-decide, pero walang proper explanation or proper reason for that action. For example, paying 150 pesos for a cup of coffee doesn't make sense when there's cheaper, equally good coffee across the street. For example, nag-Starbucks ka, magkano ang kape? Pero yung katapat na store naman, sobrang mura, 40 pesos lang, pero ganun-ganun din naman yung lasa. So, anong reason mo? 'Di ba? Ano yung valid reason mo dan? It's because famous ang Starbucks para makapag-selfie ka? 'Di ba? It's not a valid explanation or valid reason for that action. So, ganun po ang irrational. So, I hope ay malinaw tayo sa differences ng rational and irrational. Next, we have voluntary and involuntary. Pag sinabi nating voluntary, done with full volition of ill. Ibig sabihin, ito ay mga bagay na talagang gusto mong gawin. Okay, you decided to do these things. Parang kanina lang sa conscious and unconscious. Okay, something that you choose to do, such as running, standing, and reading. 'Di ba? Kasi alam mo na tatayo ka. Gusto mong tumayo, kaya ka tumayo. Kahit pa tinatamad ka, nag-decide ka pa rin na tumayo ka. So that's voluntary. Kapag naman involuntary, process within our body that go even while we are asleep or awake. Hindi natin to kinokontrol. Okay? Those you have no control such as blinking, sneezing, breathing. 'Di ba? Yan, yung mga pagkurap natin, unless talagang bantayan mo kung ilang beses ka kukurap. Pero kung hindi mo yan babantayan, kahit naman hindi mo iniisip na nakurap ka, kukurap ka pa rin naman, 'di ba? Ayan, kumurap ka ulit ngayon. 'Di ba? So, ayun, pag voluntary, ibig sabihin, nakokontrol natin yung action or behavior na yon. Pag involuntary, hindi natin yung kinokontrol. Kusa yan na ginagawa ng katawan natin. Okay. Now that you have learned the different kinds of reactions and behavior, of course, let us tackle each of the psychological approach that psychologists look at in explaining the behavior of a person. Let's start with biological perspective. Behavior is explained by brain chemistry, genetic glands, and etc. Most behavior is inherited from parents. Kapag biological perspective, yung pinaniniwalaan mo kung bakit ganyan ang behavior mo, focus to lagi sa ating mga parents and sa mga kanununuan natin. Okay? Ibig sabihin, it's all about genes. Genetic glands. Okay? Ibig sabihin yung connection natin by blood sa ibang tao. It is said that 75% of our intelligence and emotion is from our mom, while 75% of our physical characteristics or looks is from our dad. So, kapag ikaw ay matalino, yung katalinuhan mo, and kung paano ka mag-express ng nararamdaman mo, 75% daw niyan ay nakuha mo sa nanay mo. So, kung ikaw medyo imo-imo ka, baka si mommy, imo-imo din. 'Di ba? And then, on the other hand, kapag daw naman yung physical aspects yung pag-uusapan natin, 75% naman daw nun ay galing at namana mo sa tatay mo. Okay? So, kung matangos yung ilong mo, nakuha mo yan sa tatay mo na matangos ang ilong din. So, yung iba, siguro dito sila nagpo-fall into sa biological perspective, pero yung iba hindi. Kagaya ko, hindi dominant yung biological perspective sa sarili ko kasi mas kamukha ko yung nanay ko. Feeling ko yung intelligence, emotions, and looks ko sa nanay ko siya nakuha. So, hindi ako dito nagpo-fall sa biological perspective. Okay, next. Focuses on how one individual's biological factors such as chromosomes, hormones, and the brain influence behaviors, thoughts, and emotions. The key idea is that biological processes controls our thoughts and actions, including hormones and neurotransmitter and genes. Ang keyword lang naman na tatandaan nyo sa biological perspective ay genetic. Okay? Ibig sabihin, namamana po natin ito sa ating biological family. It's all about blood. Okay? Para mas matandaan natin ano ba si biological perspective. Next, we have psychodynamic perspective. It focuses on how behavior is affected by unconscious drives and conflicts. It believes that most behavioral processes stem from the unconscious. Napag-aralan na natin sa last lesson si id, ego, and superego. Pero hindi natin na-discuss doon si conscious and unconscious. But, si conscious and si unconscious, meron pa po yung tinatawag na pre-conscious. Lahat po yan ay galing kay Sigmund Freud. Okay? Na nag-develop ng aspects of personality, si id, ego, and superego. Sinasabi dito, sa psychodynamic perspective, yung ugali daw ng isang tao naman ay nakuha niya sa unconscious mind niya. So, ano ba si unconscious? It is made up of fears, thoughts, and wishes that the person is unaware of, as these have been forbidden from awareness, also known as the mechanism of repression. Mas malalim si psychodynamic kay biological. Si biological, ang ugali mo daw namana mo sa mga magulang mo, sa genes, sa mga kadugo mo. Kay psychodynamic daw, ang behavior mo daw naman, nakuha mo yan sa mga unconscious thoughts mo. Okay, si unconscious daw, ito yung mga fears, thoughts, and wishes na hindi ka aware kasi nasa under awareness siya. Dahil nga unconscious siya, wala siya sa conscious mind mo. Okay? Ano naman si mechanism of repression? Ang mechanism of repression, ito yung mga bagay na nire-repress natin. Pag sinabi nating repression, ibig sabihin, hindi natin to inilalagay sa conscious mind natin. For example, namatayan ka ng loved one mo. And pag naaalala mo yun, sobrang nasasaktan ka, hindi ka makahinga, iiyak ka. And it's just too painful. Ang ginagawa mo, nire-repress mo tong memory na to. Ano yung sabihin doon? Yung memory na yun, nilalagay mo siya sa unconscious mo. Na halos kalimutan mo na nangyari yun. Okay, like every time na maiisip mo yun, ibablock mo yun ng conscious mind mo. Sasabihin ni conscious mind mo, balik ka kay unconscious. So, pipigilan mo. For example, nagmo-move on ka. Tapos, naiisip mo na naman tong ex mo. So, for you to be able to move on talaga for real, ang ginagawa mo, oops, hindi kita iisipin, balik ka kay unconscious. So, that's the process of repression. Okay? So, kayo, for sure, nagawa nyo na rin naman yan, no? And hindi nyo lang alam yung tawag sa ginagawa nyo. But, once you are trying to forget or to ignore a thought or an idea, that's called repression. Okay? Pinapabalik natin siya sa unconscious mind para hindi natin siya maisip. That is repression. Such impulses can find expression in dreams, slips of speech, mannerisms, even mental illness, as well as socially approved activity, like artistic, literary, and scientific activity, which is known as the mechanism of sublimation. So, technically, sublimation is one way to, reduce the anxiety na binibigay kay ego natin. And it is somehow created by unacceptable urges or feelings. Kung yung repression natin, ang ginagawa natin in order for us to feel better, ay i-block yung mga pangit na mga isipin, dito naman sa sublimation, ang ginagawa natin dito ay china-channel natin yung mga unacceptable situations into an admissible or productive outlet. For example, dito, doon ulit tayo sa breakup. Galing kang breakup. Imbis na i-block mo yung thoughts, ang ginagawa mo sa sublimation ay gumagawa ka ng ibang bagay para mas malibang ka. And that alternative action should be socially acceptable. Should be moral. Okay? O broken-hearted ka, para maka-move on ka, ang ginawa mo ay nag-start kang mag-invest sa painting. Okay? So, ginagawa mong busy yung sarili mo. Humanap ka ng bagong hobby na pagkakaabalahan mo. And it is socially acceptable naman. 'Di ba? Wala namang mali sa ginagawa mo. So, that is sublimation. It's looking for an alternative action na magagawa mo, but socially acceptable dapat in order for you to forget that negative or pangit na situation. Next, we have cognitive perspective. Behavior is explained by mental functions such as memory, perception, attention, and etc. It focuses on how people think about and process information. Compares human brain to computers. Ibig sabihin naman ito, yung ugali daw natin or behavior natin ay nakukuha natin from our mental functions. Okay? Ibig sabihin, it is within ourselves na talaga. Humans are active in the environment and use mental processes to transform and understand information. A cognitive theorist may argue that a person is afraid of public speaking because of irrational or obsessive thoughts like, what if they see me fall? What if they see me sweating? They become a constant or a critic of themselves. Ibig sabihin nito, kung ikaw yung tipo ng tao na somehow perfectionist and you like doing just the best out of everything, ibig sabihin, namamayagpag sa'yo yung cognitive perspective ng behavior mo at ng kabuuan ng sarili mo. Kadalasan yung mga tao na ang dominant sa mga psychological perspectives niya ay cognitive perspective, ito yung mga takot mag-fail. 'Di ba? Ayaw nila ng may makikitang butas o negative sa kanila. Okay, so kung ganun ka as a person, ibig sabihin ang dominant perspective mo ay cognitive. Next, we have humanistic perspective. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which involves physiological, love and belongingness, safety and security, self-esteem and self-actualization. I don't know kung aware na tayo sa hierarchy of needs ni Abraham Maslow, but since this is just a psychology subject and hindi naman kayo psychology major, hindi tayo magfo-focus doon. Pero ayun, merong ginawa si Abraham Maslow na hierarchy of needs. Pag sinabi nating hierarchy, yung importance niya, it is written in a pyramid form and kung ano yung mga pinakakailangan mo daw sa buhay in order for you to survive. Okay? So, first ay physiological. Yan yung mga basic needs natin. Food, shelter, clothing, ayan. And then, love and belongingness naman daw yung sunod doon. After ng mga basic needs natin, kailangan naman daw natin ng love, syempre. And belongingness. Dapat meron kang alam mong isang, for example, family natin. 'Di ba? We know that we belong there. It's our home. Next to that is safety and security. after ng mga basic needs mo, tapos meron ka ng family, may love ka na nakukuha sa family mo, next na dyan ay safety and security. Syempre, dapat safe ka kasi kung hindi, paano ka magsusurvive? Diba? If you're not secured. Next, we have self-esteem. Okay, more on yourself na to. Kailangan confident ka. And the last one is self-actualization for you to be able to balance everything that's happening with your life. Okay, though hindi naman yun ganun ka-importante sa subject natin, but at least, diba, just additional information para alam nyo din kung ano tong hierarchy of needs na to. Next, behavior is explained as being motivated by satisfying needs with the goal of reaching one's potential once basic needs are met. Sinasabi naman dito na ang behavior naman daw ng isang tao ay nakasalalay sa pag-satisfy ng mga kailangan niya sa buhay niya. Ibig sabihin, it's all about survival. Yung behavior ng tao ay nakasalalay at ginagawa lang niya tong behavior na to kung alam niya na magsusurvive siya sa paggawa nito. For example, ito yung mga tao na nakafocus sa trabaho. Kailangan ko magtrabaho kasi kailangan ko ng pera, kailangan ko ma-feed yung sarili ko at ang pamilya ko. Okay, kung yan yung mga focus nila, ibig sabihin, dominant sa psychological perspective nila, yung humanistic perspective. Okay? Last, we have socio-cultural perspective. Here, behavior is explained by the influence of other people in the environment. It focuses on how mental processes and behavior change based on the environment or situation. People's thoughts and actions are influenced by cultural factors like stereotypes, cultural norms, media, and racial differences. Ito yung parang pinaka-dominant sa mga millennials ngayon, ha? So, based on observation ko lang naman, and this is just my opinion. Kasi sa socio-cultural perspective, ang behavior naman daw, nakukuha natin yan sa influence ng ibang tao. Ako naniniwala ako dito kasi once you are in a group, talagang naa-adapt mo kung ano yung mga behavior na meron sila. Okay? And kagaya niyan, cultural factors, stereotypes, 'di ba? Stereotyping na ngayon kung ano yung mga uso. Parang susunod ka talaga sa uso, 'di ba? In order for you to feel that belongingness sa youth and society. Talagang mag-a-adjust ka in order for you to adopt kung ano yung nasa trend. Okay? So, huwag tayong malito sa mga perspectives na na-discuss natin. Balikan natin ang bahagya. Pag sinabi nating biological perspective, it's all about genes. Okay? It's by blood. Namana mo si behavior sa mga kadugo mo, sa magulang mo, sa pamilya mo. Pag sinabi nating psychodynamic perspective, ang behavior mo daw ay nakadepende sa kung ano yung nasa loob ng unconscious mo. We have mechanism of repression and mechanism of sublimation. Pag repression, binablock natin sa conscious mind yung mga sitwasyon na ayaw nating maalala, pababalikin natin siya sa unconscious mind. Okay? And then, kapag naman mechanism of sublimation, gumagawa tayo ng socially acceptable actions para hindi natin maisip yung negative or yung painful na situation na yon. Okay, next, we have cognitive perspective. Ang behavior mo naman ay nakadepende sa kung paano mo maipapakita sa ibang tao na you're almost perfect and you're just doing your best at everything. Okay, ito yung mga tao na takot mag-fail. Dapat ganito ako, dapat the best ako. Okay, so yung behavior mo, doon nag-uugat yan sa desire mo to be the best. Next, we have humanistic perspective. Ang behavior mo naman ay nakadepende sa mga needs mo. Okay, yung behavior mo, ginagawa mo yan to satisfy your needs. Ito yung mga workaholic, ginagawa nila lahat for their family kasi alam mo kung paano ka magsusurvive. Sila yung mga tao who prioritize survival. And lastly, we have socio-cultural perspective. Ito naman, ang behavior mo naman daw ay nakukuha mo sa influence ng mga nakapaligid sa'yo. Sa society man yan, community man yan, family man yan, or any group. Basta ito ay nakukuha mo sa influence ng ibang tao. Okay, that would be all for our lesson for today. I hope ay malinaw. Huwag tayong malilito kasi kahit madami sila ay may iba't iba silang meaning and contribution sa ating sarili. Thank you and God bless us all.